actually representing a kind of situation where we have to select any one and we have only two options, either true or false, or yes or no. Possible examples of if in our day-to-day life or in our technical scenario, we have various situations where we have to answer in any one. We have to select any one option, yes or no kind of thing. Finding roots of quadritic based on the value of discriminant. If discriminant is positive, then greater than or equal to 0, roots will be real, otherwise roots will be imaginary. Tax calculation, pH value, class schedule, making sure input is correct or not, three sides, whether it is rectangle, triangle is acute, finding minimum, maximum, sorting, searching, check if a validate is valid or not, testing a number is prime or not, and various other things are also possible. So within if statements, simple syntax of if is that if is a command, if is a syntax command in C language, then expression must be solved ultimately to a two type of values. Either value will be non-zero or 0. Non-zero value is called as true, 0 value is called as false, and depending upon result of this non-zero or 0, if this expression is going to be solved and result is non-zero, then statement S1 will execute. So we say that S1 is dependent upon if condition, and we also say that S1 is within the body of if, right, because it is a single statement, so we don't have written any pair of curly braces, and statement S2 is within the program but it is out of the body of if. So either this expression is true or false, S2 will execute. So we'll see that first expression is evaluated, then if expression based upon expression, S1 will execute, and expression is what it is, but S2 will execute ultimately, right? So see, this is a question, that question mark is showing result of an expression. It is either true or false. If it is true, then we will execute S1, then we will go to S2. If it is false, then we will directly go to S2. S1 will not execute at all. Then if statement, I am here comparing this as an analogy, how we communicate with other person and how we communicate with a computer. So how we communicate, I am speaking in English, right? Hello, m is an integer variable, please ask a value for m, provide me value for m, right? Value is provided and it is being tested whether value is less than 10 or not. If it is less than 10, value of m is less than 10, 0 will be printed, otherwise whatever value you have inserted, either it is greater than or equal to, then value of m will be printed, and value of m will be printed ultimately. And this is actually kind of S2 statement that is not dependent upon any condition, right? Goodbye. So same thing I am saying in a program also, int m, scanf, then these things, printf, right? Else, this is not a program where else has been used. This printf m value has been printing ultimately, and this is a simple if. Now we'll see this result execution. 5 is given, 5 is less, so 0 is being printed, and if value is 11, then that value will be printed because this is not less than 10, right? So these are the few important points that we should consider while creating a program using if, otherwise it may go wrong. So other statement is one more step ahead. If this condition or this expression is true, then S1 will execute. What will happen otherwise? That means if this expression is not true, that means it is result is 0, then statement S2 will execute. That otherwise is represented by else, and S3 is the part of program, and it will execute ultimately either S1 or S2, any one will be selected, and S3 will definitely execute, right? So this is expression will be evaluated. If expression is non-zero, that means true, S1 will execute, otherwise S2 will execute, S3 will execute at any cost. So we'll see that thing, question mark, expression has been evaluated. If it is true, S1 will execute and S3 will execute. If it is false, S2 will execute, then S3. So there is a branching point at this value. Either S1 will execute, then S3, or S2 will execute, then S3, right? So again, same kind of analogy is there, but here regardless has been removed by otherwise, and rest of the things are same, right? If value of m is less than 10, value 0 will be printed. If it is equal to 10 or greater than 10, then m will be printed, right? So this printing of m is dependent on if. That means else is always paired with if. So we should always keep this in mind, right? So these are the different values, these are the different points, they are important. So now we will come to some programming part. So in this program, once I have to calculate gross salary of an employee. Gross salary is whatever has been given to employee will be added. And what are the different things given to employee? HRA, house rent allowance, dearness allowance, and these both are based upon basic salary. So first of all, basic salary will be provided, and there is a condition on basic salary. If basic salary is less than 1500, then HRA will be 10% of basic salary and DA is 90% of basic salary. If basic salary is greater than or equal to 1500, then HRA and DA are calculated in this way. So that means we have to calculate gross salary, and for gross salary we have to calculate HRA and DA, and HRA and DA are based upon basic salary. So first of all, we have to check basic salary. So these are the variables we have created, right? For input, output, BS is for input, GS is for output, DA and HRA for intermediate calculations. So basic salary will be inserted. Now calculations are being done based upon basic salary. This is the condition, whether basic salary is less than 1500 or not. If it is less than, that is true, then HRA and DA are calculated in this way. Otherwise, HRA and DA are calculated in this way. So any one will be followed, either if will run or else will run, and this gross salary will be calculated and printed, right? So this is the flow chart for the same. Go through it once and you will definitely get it. Next point is nested if statement. If statement within if statement, then it is a nested statement, right? That means one condition you have tested it as true, then you will go inside that if, and within that if again one more condition is going to be tested. Then we will go inside to the second if, then third if. So in this way we perform nesting. So entry condition is there, expression 1 will be executed or evaluated first, tested first. If it is true, then you are going to test expression 2, right? If it is true, then we'll do something, otherwise if it is false, then we'll do something else. Similarly, if expression 1 is false initially, then we will not evaluate expression 2 and we will go simple to statement 3 and go to other statements, right? So when will statement 1 execute? When both the expressions are true, both the conditions are true. When will statement 2 will execute? When expression 1 is true, that means non-zero value, and but expression 2 is false. When statement 3 will execute? When expression 1 is false. So see, this again same thing, condition 1, condition 2, when statement 1 will execute, when statement 2 execute, when statement 3 execute. I have told you everything, just go through it once. Now one more very popular example and very essential example to represent nesting of if statement. There are 3 numbers and you want to find the largest among 3. So at a time you can compare only 2. So we'll compare, so A, B, C are 3 numbers, comparing A and B. Anyone, we have said that these all 3 numbers are distinct, no 2 numbers are repeated, right? So A and B are compared, either A will be larger than B or B will be larger than A. Suppose I have to take care of both cases, either A is larger or B is larger. Suppose I have compared in this case, writing by this condition, if A is greater than B, if it is true, then I will compare A with C. Then again I will say if A is greater than C, so A was greater than B, then I am inside this condition to test if A is greater than C. So if both the conditions is true, that means A is the largest. And suppose my outer condition is true but my inner condition is false, that is A is not greater than C or C is greater than A, that means C is greater than A, that means C is the largest. And take the opposite part of outermost condition in written in red, A is greater than B, opposite, what will be opposite of this? B is greater than A. That means you are automatically testing it because A and B are not equal. So B is greater than B, A will be in otherwise part, that means else part. Then you will compare B and C. So if B is again greater than C also, then B is largest, otherwise C is largest, right? See the program for the same. So this is first pair of conditions. So first if loop body is this, inside if you are again testing another if and else, both are taken care here. Then this is the opposite part of outer if, and again this is the body of else, right? See, this is the program, 3 numbers are entered, you are comparing A with B, then A with C, and A is largest. If A is greater than B but A is not greater than C, that means C greater than A, that means C is largest. Else B is greater than A, then you are comparing B is greater than C, that means B is largest. Otherwise C is greater than B, that means C is largest. See, okay. So next very important program I am going to discuss, that is program for testing a year entered and that year is leap year or not. So what is the definition of leap year? If a year is divisible by 4 only, it is a leap year. And if a year is divisible by 4 and it is also divisible by 100, then it must be divisible by 400, then it will be a leap year. Say there is a case, suppose there is an year, suppose 1900. So 1900 is divisible by 4, correct. It is divisible by 100 also, correct. But this is not divisible by 400, so 1900 is not a leap year. Okay, so keep this in mind. and go ahead. So main year is been entered. Now first of all I am checking here whether year is divisible by 4 or not. Yes, it is divisible. If it is divisible by 4, then I'll go inside, and then I'll check again year is divisible by 100 also, then it must be divisible by 400. So all the three if conditions are true, year is leap year. Now one by one we'll go from inside to outside, creating all the else parts. So innermost else part will be what? That is, year is divisible by 4, correct, year is divisible by 100, correct, but year is not divisible by 400. This else is saying the same. That means year is not a leap year. This was a 1900 case, right? Then we'll come outside of this and see else part of this. Here modulus 100 equal to 0. This modulus operator is creating the remainder part, right? So year 4 divisible by 4 is correct, but year is not divisible by 100, right? That means year is a leap year. That means year is only divisible by 4. Then we'll come to the outermost else part, that is year is not divisible by 4 also. Then it is not a leap year. So this is the entire program of checking leap year using nested if else. So the else if ladder. Another way of writing if else if ladder is, what is this? When multipath decisions are involved, then we require this else if, right? If then else, and since else don't have else cannot have any condition, so we have to attach another if with it, and it is called else if. So this is a ladder kind of thing. You are going up using one ladder at a time, right? One step at a time. So this is the multipath decision logic. So now see, here every time next condition will be tested only if previous condition was false, right? So and every time next condition is based on previous condition. So condition 1 we have tested. If it is false, then we are going to test condition 2. If it is true, then we will go to statement body of condition 1 and we'll go outside the program. We will not test condition 2. If condition 1 is false, then we'll go to check condition 2. If it is false, condition 3, and in this way. And when all the conditions are being checked, then we'll last part will have only else, that will have a default statement, right? So see, if else if ladder, again if else condition 1 statement 1, if it is true we are outside the program. If condition 1 is false, then condition 2 has been tested. So in this way write the C syntax, if can have only condition. So if you want to check any condition in else part also, you have to write again one more if. So in this way we have to do this program. Declare one very popular program, and it is essential program for all the C students. Declare the result of student as it marks are given within a proper range. Suppose student has obtained some marks, right? You have calculated its percentage also by getting average of all the subjects in percentage. Then if that percentage of marks has been between, suppose 80 to 100, more than 79, and 80 to 100 honors, then 60 to 79, right? 60 to 79 first division, then similarly 50 to 59 second division, and 40 to 49 third division, otherwise fail. So these are the values that should lie in between these ranges. That means if suppose you have entered marks as 50, so what division it will show you? It should show you second division. So it will start comparing from the first part, and it will fail because marks 50 is not within this range. Honors will not be printed. Marks 50 is not within this range. First division will not printed. So marks 50 is within this range. Only second division will be printed, and after that third division and fail will not be checked. You are outside of the program with that result second division. So that program will be created using if else if ladder. So first of all marks are being entered, and it has been asked that marks maximum should be 100 and minimum should be 0. You should not enter negative marks or more than 100 marks, right? So what will be the result? Now here logical AND operator will also be used, because you have to check a range, and range has two values to be checked, for initial and final, right? So both that values, so more than 79, less than or equal to 100, then first division. So in this way else if, so next else if will execute only if previous if was failed, then this condition will be checked, and accordingly first division will be printed. If this fails due to your marks is not within this range, then next else if will take place, and this if will be checked, and result will be printed. In the same way we will print all the conditions, and if your marks are not within all the ranges given above, then else will be only fail. That means suppose you have entered marks over here like 30, and 30 is not in, if not in this, not in this, not in this, then if 30 will be else part, within else part, and it will be printed as fail. So this is if else if ladder. Again same program of leap year I am going to make using if else if ladder also. logic will be same for mathematical point of view, but represented in a different way. See how the different way appears. Since we know that a year is a leap year, when year is divisible by 400 is a leap year, correct? Year is divisible by 100 and 4 both, then is a leap year. Otherwise year is only divisible by 4, then it is a leap year, right? So we will go through these conditions one by one, right? So suppose year has been entered. So first of all I have checked it is divisible by 400, right? Then it is a leap year. 1600, year 2000, these are all leap years, right? So agar suppose यहाँ पर year is not divisible by 400, then what will be then condition will be year is suppose only divisible by 100 but not 400, that means year is not leap year, right? And rest part, suppose year is not divisible by 400 and year is not divisible by 100, then we are going to see whether year is divisible by 4 also, and if it is true then it is a leap year, else part not leap year. Okay, all these conditions are being checked. So what are the general mistakes generally students perform whenever they are first time using if else statements or if? So first of all, use of semicolon, because every time in C programming we know that semicolon is the point of termination and we have a habit to use it at the end of each statement. So we have simply used it after if statement also. So if you will use it after if statement, then it will be represented in a different manner by compiler and compile the program, and output will not be as per your prediction, right? So this is suppose your statement, if variable equal to 10 semicolon. So this semicolon is actually detaching this body has statement 1 and statement 2. These 1, 2, 3 statements are attached with if condition. If you have applied a semicolon here, now that semicolon is actually called as empty body, null statement. That means earlier body, that is body of statement and statement 2, this block, in between condition and this block there is one more empty body appears, and that will execute every time based upon condition. So empty body will execute, then these statements are not based upon this condition. So whether variable is equal to 10 or not, these statements will execute every time, right? So compiler will expand previous program like this. Semicolon will be replaced by pair of curly braces, and pair of curly braces is empty body. So every time whenever suppose var is 10, then 10 is equal to 10 is true, then empty body will run, right? When var is not, suppose var is 5, so 5 equal to 10 is false, so this empty body will not execute. So in both the cases these are executing every time because they are not dependent on if, they are not within the body of if, right? See, these things are written here one more time and see this explanation and go, don't do this mistake anymore. Then another one is that if and else are not paired properly, because else has nothing to do with itself, it is dependent on if, it is a false part of if. So every time whenever you are writing an else, it should be matched with the previous if, right? They are used in pairs, pair always. Misplaced else will be there, right? So there should be no gap, no extra statement within if body and within else, within if body just before else, right? So suppose this is a condition and you have written by mistake semicolon. So semicolon is giving you extra thing. What is that? That is empty body, pair of curly braces. That means that printf hello will not be no more with if, right? So it will create a gap between if and else. Earlier when this semicolon was not present, then if was executed, this expression is evaluated, and depending upon truthfulness of this execution, hello will be printed, otherwise else will be printed, right? So this is the way how we should not write it, right? So some another program, int main, int f, suppose inside body xyz, then again same kind of error is there. Here semicolon is not written but two statements are written. Whenever there are two statements, then we should create a block of statement using pair of curly brace. That means if body should start at this point with curly brace open and end at this point with curly brace closed, then this if and else are attached, but now there is a gap of one more statement within if and else. So multiple statements should not be there. So error will be removed if we use this program in this way. So this is the all thing. So anybody has any doubt, please ask me, otherwise repeat it and you will definitely get it. Thank you.